Hello, everyone, and welcome to Molehill Mountain, episode 330. Nice round number, evenly divisible by, you know, lots of stuff like 2 and 10 and 5 and 6, and probably some others. So, laundry problems. Yeah, y'all remember that all of the laundry machines in all of the laundry rooms broke some months back, and I washed my clothings in the tub. That was less than fun. Lurks, hello. So, Thursday I said, you know what? I should probably not be naked at work. I'll do my laundry today. And so I went out to do my laundry, and I found out that they have permanently decommissioned the laundry room. Now, for those of you who don't know, I live in an apartment complex, which most of the complex is over there on the other side of the street, but there are two buildings. Oh, well, there's two more over there. So there's 4 buildings on this side of the street, and we have our own laundry room. You know, so we don't have to open the gate, walk down the steps, go across the street, up more steps, unlock a gate, and then traipse across the complex to the middle of the complex where the main laundry room is. They used to actually have 2 laundry rooms, that main one over there and one in right behind the leasing office, but they turned the one behind the leasing office into a gym, so that's not there anymore. So, no, they've permanently decommissioned my laundry room. And they took the 2 working washers out of there and put them in the laundry room across the street. So now there's actually some working washers over there. So now when I need to do my laundry, I have to walk across the street. There's only 6 washers and dryers in there, and I don't think all of them work. So it's going to suck when I haul a basket of laundry across the street, along with a tub of detergent, and there's no available washing machines. Although, they've been renovating all the units because they can charge a much higher rent. And the renovated units all have their own washer and dryer in them, so about half the units are renovated, which means I'm only competing with half the residents. But that now includes this side of the street, too, so... So that kind of blows. Also, those are really old washers and dryers. They're just really old and clunky and prone to failure. And since they're really interested in renovating all the units so that they can charge enormous prices for them, for example, the renovated units are like $700 to $900 more a month than the one I'm in. So if I moved out, I'd move back in for like $700 to $900 more dollars. Although I'd have better overhead lighting, wooden floors, which I don't care about, a better kitchen, which I do, and a washer and dryer. I'm not going to do that because, you know, if I'm going to pay $700 to $900 more a month, I expect like another room, you know? Not just better lighting and a washer and dryer. Oh well, such is life. Also this week, my phone rang, something that never happens, no one calls me. And I looked at the number, didn't recognize it. It said potential spam, but it was this area code. So I went ahead and answered. Hello? Nothing. And I waited. And then I heard beep. I said, hello? And that's how you know it's a scam call. Like, if you answer the phone, first of all, it's a number you don't recognize, just block it. You know? If it's someone you know, I'm sure they can get a hold of you some other way and tell you what their phone number is so you can expect it. Also, if you answer the phone and you say hello and there's nobody there, it's a scam. Because they're just robocalling you, and then when you answer, then it has to route to someone to talk to you. And you can usually hear the clicks and beeps. That's someone picking up the phone. It's a scam. So anyway, this person said something along the lines of, "Hi, this is Joe from Health Insurance. How are you today?" Joe from Health Insurance? From what provider, Joe? Well, health care with Medicare and Medicaid and stuff like that. I said, yeah, what's the name of the organization you're calling on behalf of, Joe? And then he got, like, really upset with me. Like, this person who spends his day calling people to steal their money got upset with me and said something like, "Look, do you have health insurance or not?" I said, "Who do you work for, Joe?" And he hung up on me. Well, best case scenario, good old Joe doesn't bother putting my putting my number on any list, because it should be pretty clear that you're gonna just be wasting both of our time if you call me. But my goodness, hello Chicago. What a dumb scam. I mean, I guess the idea of scams is you need to be able to find particularly gullible people. No disrespect to anyone who's been scammed. You know, sometimes we just goof, you know. But man, this particular one, like, I mean, if there's the classics, like calling, "Hi, this is Chase Bank, and we are," it's like, "Oh shoot, I have an account with Chase, and Chase called me to protect me." Okay, cool. But this person said said, "This is Joe from Health Insurance," and couldn't even give me the name of a company. Dude, pick one. Kaiser Permanente, any United Healthcare, Novitas, anyone. Pick one. How do you not have... I mean, is your name really Joe? You know? I mean, it's probably not your real name, because who would use their real name in a scam? So you made up your own nom de plume. You couldn't even make up a real or fake company to be calling on behalf of? I mean, seriously, it's like, "Oh, Joe from healthcare. I have health..." I don't know, just the weirdest damn scam. Well, I mean, at least it's unlikely that anyone's actually going to fall for that one. I don't even know what the scam could have been. "This is Joe from healthcare, and you owe us money?" No, it's taken out of my paycheck. So I don't owe you shit. Weird. Anyway, yeah, this is why I never answer the phone. But again, it was my area code, so I'm like, maybe, but no. All right. Trails from Zero. We've been playing that this year, and we just finished Chapter 2 last week. And tomorrow, Sunday, is the first Sunday of May, which means we'll be playing something different. We'll be playing Trauma Team tomorrow, which means we won't be playing Trails from Zero, which makes me sad because I want to play more Trails from Zero. So instead of playing that tomorrow, we're going to talk about it tonight during the podcast. Cafe Fox, boy, you get them all, huh, Andrew? The weirdest thing about these scam callers is most of them can't seem to connect their phone correctly. Most of the scam calls I get, the robocalls, are like, "Hello? Hello? Hello?" And then they hang up. Maybe I just sound like I'm not going to fall for a scam. I don't know. No idea what it is, but most of the time they never even talk to me. It's so lonely. Chicago says, elderly people, paranoid people, distracted people, they'll get scammed. Yeah. But even elderly, paranoid, and distracted people, they're going to have a red flag when Joe from healthcare calls. I mean, that doesn't even make any sense. That's like, this is Joe from the bank. Which bank? I mean, there's just some people are bad at scams. Anyway, so one of the fun things about playing through the Trails games is I'd say most of my audience, at least a good chunk of them, have played through the games before. So they're watching me react to and discover all the fun characters and plot twists and really, really good music. And that's just so it's fun, you know. You watch a movie or something with a friend who's never seen it. You're like, oh, this is the good part. Let's see how they react, right? And I've also, of course, because it's fun, made plot predictions on where I think the story might go and why does the back of my head itch so much. And sometimes I hit the nail on the head. Sometimes I miss the board that the nail's sticking out of. And, you know, everywhere in between. We did find out who Yin the Masked Assassin was last Sunday. Did I predict their identity correctly? Yes, I did. Did I predict their identity correctly like 3 seconds before it was revealed? Yeah. Still counts, though. Chicago says, I haven't played a Trails game. I only heard about them when you started playing. Yeah, when they were recommended to me, Brian or Jared or both, a couple years ago, had I heard of them? I think I was mildly aware that Cold Steel existed, but I hadn't really heard much about the games. So, yeah, I think both Brian and Jared have bought some of the games for me. So one of them bought me the first game, and I thought I'd play it on stream. And here we are, like 2.5 years later, still playing through the games. And I don't know, a new entry in the series comes out in July, Tales from Revache. No, it's not that. It's Tales from Reverie or something like that. From or to Reverie. And that comes out this summer, and just think... by the time I get around to actually playing that one, it'll be a retro game. So now we know we discovered the plot of the threat letter to Ilya. Yin did not threaten her. It was Gilbert. No, it wasn't Gilbert. It was Ernest, the Mayor McDowell's secretary. So I thought it would be fun to, before we start in on Chapter 3, not this week again, we're going to play Trauma Team tomorrow, but when we get back to it, thought I'd talk about where we are in the story and where I think we might go from here. Maybe make some predictions, you know, more than 3 seconds before they happen, right? So, I'm probably at some point going to slip and say who Yin is. So if you haven't played the game and you don't know Yin's identity, I'm probably going to say so. So just keep that in mind. Alright. So, where we left off is Ilya got a threat letter signed by Yin, a known assassin from Kalvar. Right? She played it. I get threats all the time. Who cares? On with the show. But Risha, her co-lead, called the police. That's us. And we investigated it. And we're like, okay, is it the Revache Mafia? Is it the Heiyu Mafia? And because we're good police officers, our keen detective training taught us to find evidence by going to each respective mafia headquarters and ask if it was them. We're very good at our jobs. And they both said no. And it's like, okay, well, I guess that clears that up. So, so the threat letter says, don't do the show or tragedy will befall Ilya, the lead dancer. Well, turns out that the threat letter was a ruse. It was a distraction by Secretary Ernest, the Mayor McDowell's secretary, so that he could kill Mayor McDowell in the private VIP box that they were watching the play from. Right? So I guess the idea was, all right, send the threat letter as the masked assassin Yin, and then stab Mayor McDowell with an Eastern-style sword, so that everyone thinks it's the masked assassin, and I get off scot-free. Yay! And if if anyone goes to the police with the threat letter, they're going to be paying attention to Ilya on stage, not my private box. And if they just don't take it seriously, well, I'm in a private box. No one's going to be paying attention anyway. So, and then later they'll find the threat letter when they're investigating the crime, and they'll go like, "Oh, they should have called the police. We might have been able to do something." So, the perfect crime. So I guess one question is, now that we know who Yin is, are they going to continue working for the Heiyu Mafia, or are they out? Was this someone faking a threat letter in their name? Was that the last straw for Yin? Or is Yin going to continue working for Heiyu? I feel like they're planning on leaving their line of work. Okay, this is way too difficult. I'm going to say who Yin is. It's Risha, the co-lead of the play. It's Risha. All right, cool. Sorry for spoiling. Very difficult to talk around that. All right, so is Risha going to continue to be Yin? Because it feels like she's Yin because, and she says something like this to Ilya at the very end of the last stream. She said something along the line of, I now have a new path presented in front of me instead of the one I inherited. Because Yin, the assassin's been around for in Calvard for 100 years. So she's just, inheriting the mantle, I'm assuming, right? But, so it sounds like she's been an assassin because that's just what she knows and what she's done. And she just fell into this dance thing, the performance thing, and she's like, you know what? I'd honestly much rather do this. So, is she done being Yin? I would say not yet, because she mentioned to Kao, I think the guy, the manager at the Heiyu Mafia headquarters, she'd mentioned to him that she has a task that's going to be at the festival, which I'm guessing is the anniversary festival is probably going to be Chapter 3. So I'm going to guess that whatever specifically she's been hired to do, probably kill someone, like Ravache members, although not the dogs. She got real salty about that. It's like, hey, I thought you were working for us. She's like, dude, I work for you. Yeah, but you didn't hire me to kill dogs, so no. So she's probably going to do, this is my last thing here, and then I'm gonna quit being Yin, and I'm gonna go full on into theater, my calling. All right. Back to McDowell's murder. Attempted murder. He didn't actually die. We caught him in time. But when we see, there was something wasn't adding up to me when I was watching it. And I said this on the stream. Number one, why is Ernest killing Mayor McDowell? Well, Grace, the reporter, had found out that he'd been embezzling. So, did Mayor McDowell find out? Was Ernest afraid Mayor McDowell would find out? He's like, uh-oh. Did someone threaten to tell Mayor McDowell? So he thought he'd kill Mayor McDowell because he found out, or because he was afraid he'd find out? That's a possible motive. At this point, I'm willing to trust that Grace Lynn is a decent reporter and what she found out was actually true, and Ernest is embezzling money. I'm accepting that as true right now. That seems like a fine motivation to kill Mayor McDowell, to cover your own corrupt arse. So fine. However, in the private box that Mayor McDowell and Ernest were watching the play from was also a guard. And when we got there, the guard was laid out outside the room. And we went in the room, and Ernest had Mayor McDowell on the floor and was about to stab him. My first thought was, what happened? How did this happen? And I gave it some more thought during the week, and I came up with something pretty plausible, I think. So, now, Ernest couldn't assault the guard in the box. Mayor McDowell would obviously notice. And he couldn't assault Mayor McDowell in the box because the guard would obviously notice. So he could have just easily walked over to the guard and said, "Hey, come here for a second," and walked outside and then conked him over the head. And then went back in and, conked Mayor McDowell over the head, dragged him out of his chair onto the floor, and got ready to stab him, and that's when we came in. Okay, sure. That works. What was his plan to get away with it? Say that he was in the bathroom while the mayor was murdered? I guess. I don't know. That could have worked. But, when I was playing, I'm like, something's not adding up here. So, when we confronted him, he took off like a bat out of hell. Like, full-on ninja run. Like, he had speed lines going behind him. Right? And when we caught up with him and had our dog sit on him, he was doing all wide-eyed crazy stuff and ranting. Like, I'm going to be the next mayor! I was like, wait, what? Are you high? I mean, he was running like he had just snorted cocaine bear under the table, so maybe he was tripping on shrooms. But something's going on here. So the question is was this just a plot by Ernest to, cover his ass for embezzling? Or, as he was ranting when we caught him, was he killing the mayor so that he could be mayor? No. That doesn't make any sense. And I touched on this lightly on the stream. Because I don't claim to be an expert in Crossbell politics, Crossbell being a place that's made up, but I would be very surprised to learn that when the mayor of Crossbell dies or is otherwise indisposed, the next in line is his secretary. So, I don't think Mayor McDowell getting murdered makes his secretary the new mayor. I would be surprised to learn that that's how that works. So that doesn't make any sense. Why do you think that killing the mayor is going to make you mayor? Also, Mayor McDowell was going to retire soon anyway. And Ellie is out of politics, as you've made sure several times now. So, she wasn't in the way. You almost certainly had the endorsement of Mayor McDowell, so that's as broad a guarantee as you could possibly have of becoming mayor within the next year or two. So hold your horses, Skippy. Something here's not adding up. So Ernest is a patsy. I prediction, right? Someone's controlling him. And I think we've got some instance of mind control. Again, because he was running like a bat out of hell. He was, he's wide-eyed and crazy and ranting like a lunatic. And apparently now he's a blubbering mess. No one can talk to him. like he's a blubbering mess in whatever cell they're holding him in. So sounds like his mind is broken, and this is not without precedent. George Weissman had mind control powers and was experimenting with the fake stigmas and stuff like that. So that's a possibility. Maybe we've got another Ouroboros Ennui person controlling Ernest. Or maybe we've got orbal mind control technology. Or maybe it's another, what are the artifacts called? Septarians or something? Maybe there's another mind control septarian artifact kind of thing that someone has. Or maybe the man's just high as a kite. Yeah, he did some really bad cocaine. Or it's mind control drugs. In Yakuza, not Like a Dragon Ishin, there's this whole side story about like this mind control incense. So it could be technology, it could be drugs, it could be mind control, it could be the artifact stuff, the Septarian artifact stuff. Point is, mind control exists, and I think Ernest is being controlled somehow. So the big question is, okay, by whom? Who's the bad guy? Who is it? Well, let's think about this. Who are the major suspects? Well, it's the two mafia groups, right? The Heiyu and the Ravache. Is it Heiyu? Almost certainly not. I wouldn't think so. That doesn't make much sense because, as Cal rightfully, I'd say, pointed out, this would look really bad for us because everyone knows that we're, because we represent that we're the mafia from Calvard, so we are connected to the Calvardian assassin Yin. So if Mayor McDowell is killed and people think Yin did it, well, that doesn't do us much good. That does not help us influence Republican politics. Republican Calvard's the Republic. That's what in that context. So almost certainly not Heiyu. Doesn't make any sense. All right, so it's Ravache. Well, that actually does make a lot of sense, right? Because Ravache is the mafia from the other country, Erebonia. And Speaker Hartman is an Imperial. So he's part of the Imperial faction, the Erebonia faction, right? And so if Mayor McDowell does... See, the way I understand it works is the Speaker and the Mayor are like co-equals for the Calvard government. And so they're kind of in a deadlock because you have Speaker Hartman, who's, the Imperial faction, and you have Mayor McDowell, who's an independent, I guess. And so they can't get anything done. So if Mayor McDowell dies and he's replaced by, let's say, Ernest, who, one, we can mind control, and two, we know he murdered someone, and three, we probably know he's been embezzling. In fact, I would imagine Lynn knows about the embezzlement because someone wanted her to know. That seems like something, right? So, is it Ravache, though? Well, it would seem to benefit them if Mayor McDowell's out of the picture. That would make Imperial-friendly policy a lot easier, right? But I don't think it's Ravache. Because when we, the police, went to ask Ravache very, very nicely if they were the bad guys, they said no. But moreover, they didn't have to let us into their house to talk to us. They could have just told us to piss off. So they're either just incredibly overconfident, or they had nothing to do with the threat letter in the first place. And when we showed, Don Corleone, Garcia, maybe? The big guy with the pinstripe shirt. when we, uh-oh, I lost all of my viewers. I guess I'm boring the hell out of you guys, huh? Oh well. I'm having fun talking, so it's fine. What was I talking about? So, dude, I totally lost my place. Oh, Ravache, right. So, the big guy. Not the top brass guy, the guy who was like in the purple, the older guy who was sitting on the couch with the gigantic bottle of wine like the size of him. The really big guy with the pinstripe shirt. Garcia, I think his name was. He seemed to be taken aback by the fact that the threat letter was signed by Yin, who he definitely knows who that is. So, I don't think it's Ravache. And it's like, okay, fine. Well, if it's not Heyu and it's not Ravache, then who the hell is it? I did have people talking in the chat. It is public? Yeah, okay. Just making sure. And we are streaming? Okay, cool. Sweet. Alright. So who's controlling Ernest? If it's not the Ravache and it's not Heyu, who is it? Well, there is one name that we keep hearing over and over, and that's Speaker Hartman. We haven't met him yet. We haven't been in his office. It's there, but it's locked. Well, we haven't been in Mayor McDowell's office yet either. And we haven't been in any of the linen closets. So, Speaker Hartman makes sense. I mean, he would benefit from getting McDowell out of the way and getting someone that he can control through, blackmail, if not mind control. But the way everyone talks about Speaker Hartman, he comes off to me, and we haven't met him yet, so it's really hard to say, but the way everyone's talking about him is he strikes me as not like a mastermind. He just strikes me as your run-of-the-mill, corrupt, opportunistic politician who doesn't believe in anything other than their own power, right? So, I think there's a third party. Oh, Hartman's definitely a bad guy. And I think it has something to do with it. Although Cao and Yin both speculated that Ernest learned of Yin through him, and he through Hartman, and Hartman learned it through the Ravache. And they said something like, but I don't think he meant for Ernest to kill him. And I was like, I don't know. That would seem to benefit him quite nicely. So, who's the third party? I don't think Hartman has mind control powers or special technology or magic drugs or anything. It seems like there'd be some provider of that, right? Like there's some quid pro quo thing going on here. Like, you help me get rid of my political rival, and I will push legislation that you like through. Look at this back. It needs a scratch. Right? So who is it? Well, who else is there? I mean, I guess it could be the Society again, but that's boring. So I'm going to go with an organization that actually has a presence in this game. And in fact, one of our party is a member of, so it would make it personal to her. And that's the Epstein Foundation. Yeah. I'm going out on a limb here, and I'm saying the Epstein Foundation is, or at least the division of the foundation that is exploiting child labor to test their orbital technologies, because that is, as the kids like to say, sus. And Tio works for the Epstein Foundation, so that would, if it turns out that they are the bad guys, that would make it personal for her. So, that's where I'm going. Epstein Foundation are the bad guys, and they are working with Speaker Hartman to bump off Mayor McDowell in exchange for political favors. What political favors could the Epstein Foundation actually want? Well, perhaps anything that would make it easier to get the orbital network set up in Crossbell, which is what's going on right now. or perhaps, future-proofing the laws that aren't really in place yet to be beneficial to the Foundation. So, am I right? No, probably not. But, the story could go that way, and I honestly don't know who else it could be. Or I'm just, completely wrong. But it's fun to just make stuff up. So, let's see. Oh, also, the Epstein Foundation could conceivably have orbital mind control tech. So, they're up to some fishy stuff. I don't like it when organizations exploit child labor. That's suspicious. Looking at you, ZCF. Are you paying Tita at all? You should be. I mean, at least the Bracer Guild are, paying some of its youngest members, who are the youngest ones I know of are, 16 when it's, it's still in Joshua when they started, but at least they got paid, Tita is or Tio rather, is the Epstein Foundation actually paying her? I don't know. I mean, she's getting money from her work with the police, but I don't know if the Epstein Foundation's actually paying her. All right. So not only is Tio part of the Epstein Foundation, so is Yona. Right? We met him, the little hacker. And so that's another young kid who is brought into this organization who seems to be being exploited somehow. I don't trust it. Now, this could just be very anime and just kind of how Zemuria do. Or this could be an evil corporation. Or at least, one section of the Foundation is evil. But, there's another young kid in Crossbell with a profile picture. And that's Colin, Harold's kid. And I've been wondering for the whole game, because I don't trust Harold. I think he's a bad guy. But I've always been wondering, why the hell does his wife and kid have a profile picture? I mean, he's obviously important because he's a secret bad guy. But why the hell do his wife and kid? Well, if Colin's part of the Epstein Foundation, that might explain it. Does it explain Sophia? No. But I'm getting there. So another thing is when we were talking with Yona, he mentioned that there was this hacker named Kitty. And he says, I thought it was you, Tio, but come to think of it, it's not your style at all. It's, you have a particular fingerprint, and it doesn't seem like you. And she goes, yeah, it's not me. Okay, so who is Kitty? Well, I had predicted a little earlier that the hacker who had sent us the email that was routed, who'd hacked into the IBC to send us an email from Yin, was Ren. Because she's in town for some reason, ostensibly something more than just getting Pottermother fixed up. She's got to have some interest, some stake, and she seems really interested in us for some reason. When we first ran into her, she knew who we were. Yes, we're in the paper, but still. When we were fighting the dog, she was watching us with Arios. So she's taking an interest in us for some reason. Maybe she needs the police to help her where the bracers can't. If we're getting into political stuff, and bracers are kind of limited where they can enter into government stuff and politics. They're just like, if a citizen's in trouble, we can help out, but we can't really do much there. That's where the police come in. So I was thinking, okay, maybe has elite hacker skills and hacked in and sent us the thing. Turns out, no, that was Yona at the behest of Yin. But there's still this Kitty out there somewhere. So is Kitty Ren? I mean, it would seem that if it's Kitty, it would be Tio because of the cat motif, but she already said no, so let's say I was half right in my first prediction, and we'll say that Kitty is Ren. What is she doing, though? I don't know. Like, the only thing I can think of is that she's, like, based on her own history, also understandably touchy about organizations that exploit children, so maybe she's there to help the kids of the Epstein Foundation. So that works. We'll go with that. Another thing that popped up in a conversation with the Ravache, it was the cutscene where Don Garcia, or whatever his name is, was introduced, I think. He'd mentioned something about an auction coming up, and so I'm guessing the auction coincides with I'm either guessing or remembering, I don't know which, that the auction coincides with the festival. Okay. Interestingly, so does Yin's assassin assignment. It's going to be at the festival. Are these related? Is she going to assassinate Ravache people who are running an auction? What are they auctioning? Is the Ravache trafficking children that the Epstein Foundation is using for its suspicious experiments? Sure. Let's go with that. Boy, if I'm totally wrong about the Epstein Foundation, like every one of my predictions ends up wrong. So, when I first heard about the auction, I was thinking, what are we auctioning off? I mean, we know that both mafia organizations traffic contraband across the border, but that's not very interesting. So we'll say it's the children that are in the Epstein Foundation. Sure. Let's see, what else? What is the connection between Randy and Ravache? Because when we visited the Ravache, he said, hey, hang on just a minute. I've seen fiery red hair like yours, young Randy, said Don Garcia, or whatever his name is. So it doesn't seem that Don Garcia knows Randy, but knows someone with similar hair. I mean, a lot of people have red hair. I mean, he's not like the long-lost brother of Agate, right? I think Agate's younger sister, Misha, I think that's right. I think that's the only sibling he has. But it's like, I mean, come on, not everyone with red hair is related. But so he seemed to recognize the hair, and Randy brushed him off. So what is that about? So perhaps Randy has a younger sibling. I don't think he's old enough to have a kid, because I think he's 22. And the Epstein Foundation kids all seem to be young teenagers, like Tio's age, 14. And Colin I think Colin's like 6, 7, around there, maybe 8. So he seems a little younger, but I have a theory. I'll get there. So here's the thought. Don Garcia, one of the kids he trafficked into the Epstein Foundation, had flamin' red hair, just like Randy. And that's going to be Randy's little sibling. There we go. Also, I think he said something like he had a history with the Jaegers. I don't know how that works into anything yet. I'm not even sure if I'm misremembering that. But that's a thing. So, I wanted to work that into my grand unifying theory of the Epstein Foundation, but I don't know where that goes yet. Another thing with Randy is, why did he leave the CGF? And have we? I'm certain we haven't met whoever runs that gate, the Erebonian gate. It's Tangram or Grancel? No, that shoot. The Erebonian gate, right? Commander Beals, she's at the one over on Calvard. But the guy who operates the one over in Erebonia, nobody likes. Randy hates his guts. Seems to be the reason he left. I'm pretty sure we haven't met him. And I don't think anyone's even mentioned his name yet. Usually I remember if I've heard a name. I may not remember the name, but I know... I don't know if he's been introduced yet, which is weird to me. Like, that leads me to believe it's not that important. So Randy ostensibly left the CGF because he just kind of got kicked out for sleeping around with all of the people who work there, which doesn't seem to actually be true. Like, the story is, it's like he's a sexist jerk who's just constantly hitting on people and sleeping with them. But no one seems to agree with that assessment, so it sounds like that's a story that was made up to cover for something else. So, was there some kind of deal here? Why is he okay with people thinking he's a sexist jerk face instead of what's actually true? Did he catch the commander doing something and the commander like bartered his sibling for his silence? Like, okay, Randy, I will you caught me being the corrupt dork, so in order for your silence, I'll go get your kid or brother or sister back from the auction in exchange for your silence and you leaving, and we'll just make something up like, he was sleeping around, so we kicked him out. Fine. Yeah. There we go. That is some threadbare, tenuous crap, but we'll see. Okay, so back to Harold. What the hell is Harold up to? Because I had him pegged as the bad guy in the first chapter, because he's just way too nice, and he was everywhere where he needed to be. When the wolf attack thing was, it's like, oh, that's terrible. You're telling me wolves, ate all your chickens and destroyed all your crops? Well, golly, that sucks. Well, hey, I've got all these supplies, and I'll sell them to you for a fine price. How convenient, Harold. Henry? Harold? It's Harold, right? Hayworth or something? Harold? I think it's Harold, Sophie, and Colin, I think. But it seems like that's not actually the case. Maybe he's just a genuinely good person? It can't be. He's hiding something, because we talked to the family in church, and of course Colin's an idiot. Yay, I love going to church and praying with Mommy. And Mommy's praying every week, or for whatever, and he apparently rarely ever goes, and he's there, and he's like... And he said something like, I don't come here often, but I thought I'd come today to pray for, good business. And they're like, really? And he goes, yep, sure. I don't believe you. I think maybe guilt is eating at you for the evil things you do. Henry? Harold? Harold. I have Harold in my notes, but I don't know what it is. And I'm afraid to actually Google anything because, I could easily Google the names, but I'm afraid if I do, it's going to come up with, like, text box of stuff, and I'll inadvertently learn something. Like, for example, in the first Trails from the Sky games, if you Googled Olivier, you could easily, just through an image, learn something about him that you didn't want to know until it was introduced in the story proper. So I don't Google stuff. What was I talking about? Harold, right. So, okay. So what is he really up to? I think he sold Colin to the Heritage Foundation, the Epstein Foundation. But I don't think the Epstein Foundation works with kids that young. So I think that the foundation gave him in an advance so that they could have, for a promise to have the kid later, because he's too young now, because he's only like 6, 7, 8, something like that, and they want young teenagers, and so maybe he's having a guilt problem because he knows that he sold his son to this evil company. But why did he do it? Well, I think selling the promise of Colin when he gets older is where he got his initial injection of wealth. Because he has his own car. Not many people have their own car unless they're rich. So, this might be where his money comes from. But what does Sophia think about this? Well, before we answer that, what was Estelle so upset about when we saw her and Joshua in the dining room of the inn up in the Maine's Village? She was like, because she was like all bummered out over something. Like, she said something like, we looked into this person for her, but he seems fine. Like, he seems like a fine person. Who is she talking about? I think she's talking about Harold. And I think that Sophia hired the Bracers to look into her husband due to suspected infidelity or corruption. And, she doesn't know that he sold Colin to the Epstein Foundation. But so she hired the Bracers, look into this for me, and Estelle and Joshua looked into it and was like, no, he seems like just a really nice guy. His business seems legit. His family's happy. No one has an unkind word to say. I don't know what to tell Sophia. She seems certain there's something there, and we looked, but nah, he seems just to be a stand-up groovy guy. So that's what I think Estelle was upset about. And there you go. There are all my incredibly wrong predictions, which I will probably change my mind about as we continue playing through the games. So, Brian, I hope you had fun filling out your predictions sheet with all that nonsense. Tomorrow we are playing Trauma Team. And we'll get back to Trails from Zero later and see just how wrong I am. So I think that's going to cover it for tonight. I take it there was not much interest in this rambling, but it's kind of fun to for me anyway to talk about the game and try and figure out what the picture of the puzzle might look like, even if I don't have all the pieces yet. So, we'll see. The grand unifying theory of the evil Epstein Foundation. There you go. Oh, I forgot about Guy. So, from a narrative standpoint, all of our main four characters are have personal stake in this particular bad guy, or at least this type of bad guy, right? Because Tio is in the Foundation. Ellie is not in the Foundation, but she's also involved in the politics and is aware of the corruptness of the Crossbellian politics, and so that's why she got out and into the police stuff. So she has a vested interest into solving all this garbage. Randy, we talked about, we're guessing he has a family member who got sold into the Epstein Foundation, and that's why, the Don recognized him, and might be what's going on with the whole CGF thing. But what about Lloyd? Lloyd. Well, his brother was killed by the Epstein Foundation because Guy got too close. He was about to uncover the truth, so they killed him. I was about to say, did they hire Yin to do it? Well, no, because, again, the Epstein Foundation is Le Mans State, I think, not Calvard. So, no, probably not. That would be going a little bit too... Oh, man. Risha ends up being the person who murdered Guy. That would be tough. But, who knows? Where was it gone? Oh, right. So, there was a flashback at some point where Cecile was talking to Guy, who was going out, and he was teasing her about, yes, I've found another girl, and he's saying, no, 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 it's a young girl. I'm going to save her because I'm, super cop, and that was the last thing anyone ever saw of him. So he was going to go save one of the Epstein Foundation kids, and he got killed for it. So that's how Lloyd ties into the whole thing. So it makes it personal for all of our cast. It is a genius theory that's going to probably be hilariously wrong. Although I made enough predictions that I probably got something vaguely similar to what's actually going on. So it'll be interesting to see how the game unfolds. But again, Trauma Team tomorrow. Then we'll get back to Trails from Zero and just enjoy ourselves. The anniversary festival's coming up. That should be fun. So that's it for tonight. If any of you actually did stay and listen to that rambly garbage, I appreciate it. Hope you all had fun, and I hope you're looking forward to more Trails. And I hope you'll join me for some Trauma Team tomorrow. So that's it. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.